It's that time once again. Engines on. Let's go. Welcome back to another weekly episode of The Whole Truth. My name is Wes, and it's my job to bring you relevant Star Citizen news every week in a concise format. So sit back and join me for episode number 34. Star Citizen hit $48 million in crowdfunding, and with that, we're back to the stretch goal format due to a very close vote from the community that ended in a 54% yes to keep. Chris Roberts lets us know that the Retaliator commercial is next in the lineup, and Chris promises this one will be a different flavor than the previous ship commercials. The team drops a few images from some of the locations they're working on. These are all on Stanton 3. When the game hits $50 million in crowdfunding, Chris has promised the addition of alien languages. Working with real-world linguists, the team will construct entire languages for the Vandul, the Xi'an, and the Banu. There's no universal translators in this universe, and the aliens will speak a real language. That sounds pretty epic to me, but there was a lot of dissent, as there always is amongst the denizens of the World Wide Web, about whether or not this is a good use of funding. I personally think it's absolutely amazing. Now, where can I get my copy of Vandul for Dummies? Arena Commander is still chugging along, and the citizens of the Star Citizen universe are eagerly awaiting patch 12.5. It was also confirmed that there will be a new enemy in Arena Commander when this patch finally lands, and it's up to us to find them. Other than that, there's not a lot of news on the AC front. Keep playing and keep reporting bugs. The Aegis Gladius has been declassified. We get a nice detailed look at the Gladius showing off its light fighter physique. The ship is intended to be a quick fighter with a major focus on dogfighting and being used as an interceptor. This is a lower end ship than, say, the Hornet, but that also means it's cheaper to maintain and easier to fly. Here's the tale of the tape. The Gladius is a one-man ship sporting 2 TR-2 primary Aegis K-5B Starwalk thrusters and 8 TR-1 Hydra propulsion maneuvering thrusters. Defense is provided by an Ascension Astro Solo Shield. Offense is taken care of by 2 Bearing M3A laser cannons in the wings, 1 Gallinson Gatling gun in the nose, and 2 racks of dumbfire missiles. The length is 20 meters, the beam is 16 meters, the height is 4 meters, and the mass is around 9,700 kilograms. The Gladius is not currently up for sale, although it was briefly during the week. Never fear though, it will return to the shop again soon, and it's been confirmed that you will be able to do a chassis swap to this ship once it's finished and in Arena Commander. If you've been hankering for some cool Star Citizen shirts and patches, CIG has put a couple of new shirts up on the site and a new run on some patches we've seen before. This is the newer group of patches we saw not too long ago that includes the absolutely awesome Freelancer patch, which is my favorite. I have all of them and the quality is noticeably better on the newer patches. I also picked up an Arena Commander t-shirt, but I told my wallet enough is enough when it comes to the Anvil shirt. Mainly it was just a color preference. I'm just not a huge fan of brown t-shirts. A new run of limited dog tags was offered on the CIG. Oh wait, they're already gone. Moving on. Around the verse this week, we get a few little tidbits of new info. First of all, Sandy was dressed up as Eva last week, and we find out that Eva is going to be the virtual assistant in the online store for Star Citizen. The team responsible for Arena Commander has finished the design for the lobby system and has now moved on to the ship component system, which coincides with the Persistent Universe team expanding on that system and integrating assets into it that were previously developed. Ship balance is ongoing. The Squadron 42 team has had their review of the first 3 missions of the story-based portion of the game and has now moved on to the 4th mission. This is pretty exciting news considering that Squadron 42 will consist of about 50 missions and be released to us incrementally. It doesn't sound quite so far away when you hear stuff like this. The team in Austin is hard at work on Nebula effects as well as the EVA prototype. And last but certainly not least, Behavior Interactive is working on a redo of the old hangars considering how amazing the asteroid hangar looks. All 3 of the old hangars we've had for a while now are being converted into the multi-room systems like the asteroid hangar. I can't wait to see that. I've never been a fan of the deluxe hangar. That does it for the website news. Let's see what Chris Roberts had to say in his forum feedback this week on 10 for the Chairman. Chris verified this week that NPC crew members would eventually make their way into Arena Commander, so in case you were worried that you might not have enough people to crew your ship in the AC module, never fear. NPCs will cover your rear. I I'd also like to say that I think it might be a good idea to build in a system where you can queue in a multiplayer ship and toggle whether or not it's open to randoms joining as crew members or not. If you're playing by yourself in your constellation and don't want to mess with NPCs, you could always toggle the rando button on and let people who have queued for such a job do so. They could then try out crew stations on different ships and see what they like. Who knows, maybe this is something that they're already planning. In response to another question about org management, Chris mentioned that there will be mobile apps to do things like monitor stuff and set up missions ahead of time. We've known for a while that there will be mobile support, and here's another little clue as to what that will consist of. Sounds good to me. Now I can manage my org while I sit on the toilet. You guys don't mind, right? This week in other news, early access for a 4X game called Star Ruler 2 is up on Steam. The game retails for $19.99 and I decided to pick up a copy because I'm a sucker for 4X and sci-fi. The developer describes the game as a massive scale 4X RTS where you can explore thousands of systems in a galaxy of your choosing. You can expand across planets, exploit resources you find, and even exterminate everyone along the way if that's your cup of tea. I picked this game up because of a few interesting features. There's an actual economy across the entire galaxy where you can produce and trade goods. You can actually design your own ships to fill different roles. You decide the layout of the ship, the placement of things like armor, weapons, engines, and other internal components that you might need. Diplomacy and politics are a core feature in this game, not just a smaller side aspect that you can completely ignore. It's also quite large in scale. Galaxies can be massive, and the devs say it's only limited by your PC hardware and if it can handle it or not. The game also has all the other features you're used to in a 4X, including multiplayer, but get this. Multiplayer can be done with up to 28 people, and you can substitute AI as well. I've only spent about 4 hours in the game so far due to time constraints, but I had a lot of fun. Most of the feedback I've seen of the game through research leads me to believe it's pretty solid overall. It is early access though, so keep that in mind. This week, the r/Star Citizen post of the week goes to K-Crew for his wallpapers. K-Crew makes some pretty nice wallpapers for Star Citizen and also has a forum post with more creations on it. If you need something to spice up your desktop and want a Star Citizen themed image, make sure you check it out. Thank you, K-Crew, for your contribution to the Star Citizen community. That brings us to the end of another week of Star Citizen News. Once again, thank you all for the support you've given me and the Star Citizen community by watching, liking, and commenting on these videos. My goal is to do this full time and put out more videos. And we recently hit our first Patreon goal of $150 per episode. With more funding via Patreon, I can devote more time to the show, and if I can't put an episode out in a given week, you don't get charged anything anyway. The show has been bi-weekly lately due to our first baby, which will be here any day now, but expect weekly updates to continue very soon. I'll see you guys again next week if everything goes to plan. Engines powering down.